So I'm Pooven Moodley with Natural Justice. I'm also on the Council of the ICCA Consortium and went to the Climate Week of Action in New York in September, both representing Natural Justice and the ICCA Consortium as well. The week started off in quite a profound way because it was one of the elders from a community based in New York who were the traditional owners of the land, who welcomed us and opened quite an important meeting around looking at climate rights and human survival. It brought together civil society organizations, activists, indigenous communities from around the world to think through how do we ensure that human rights is a key part of this climate struggle during this time of planetary crisis. So key things were discussed there, including looking at territories of life, looking at indigenous communities, and looking at what it means in terms of protection, what it means in terms of climate financing, and how best to support indigenous communities amongst other areas that was discussed. The other key part was around environmental defenders. As we know, based on the most recent Global Witness report, at least 3 people per week around the globe are killed as they protect their land and life and territories. So it was quite an important time for groups to think through together, how do we ensure that we work together to protect defenders as well. Another massive highlight during the week was obviously the climate strikes that have been organized by young people across the globe. Millions of people marching in New York. It was 250,000 people. So being in that march was just quite an incredible feeling. The feeling of really one of hope, in the sense that people are mobilizing, and it's really inspiring to see young people all over the world mobilizing. In the march itself, I mean, the most vibrant part of the march as well was indigenous people from different parts of the world coming together and really bringing something different to the table. Many communities are bringing alternatives as well. If you look at the Kogi people in Colombia, for example, they're looking at regenerating ecosystems, rivers, etc., but also focusing on things like sacred sites and the activation of sacred sites, which is becoming increasingly important amongst indigenous communities across various territories of life. So it was a really important gathering, some really crucial meetings, but I think largely it kind of starts providing some really good momentum as we deal with the planetary crisis, and the fact that indigenous communities and territories of life are coming to the forefront is a really good sign of hope, but also providing true leadership. So overall, an incredible week in New York.